Hey guys, quick video today talking about sensitivity, specificity, and ROC curves. Quick definitions here. The percent of people with the disease who test positive for that disease is called sensitivity. And the percent of people without a disease who test negative is called specificity. And so typically more specific tests are good because they reassure patients. For example, let's say you have a colonoscopy and I tell you you had a negative colonoscopy. Hopefully, what I'm saying is that I'm very confident you don't have colon cancer. And so we can say that a colonoscopy is very specific. Another definition is AUC, which is called area under the curve. I'll explain what that means in a second. Let's say we have a graph like this, and we graph some data. The amount of values under the curve is our AUC. Don't really worry too much about that. It's just a random definition. And so what I'm concerned about now is, let's say I develop a test. So I have a test and you take it, and let's say it tells you that you are positive for something. So just to be more specific, let's say I have a strep test and this tells you that you have strep. Well, now what you're wondering is, do I really have strep or was this just a false positive? And so what I'm saying here is that a test result can either be a true positive or a false positive. And so let's say I wanted to graph that. So over here I have true positives, and over here I have false positives. Now let's say my test is a scam. So basically my test is no better than random guessing. You either have a 50% chance of a true positive or you have a 50% chance of a false positive. What that would look like on a graph is basically just this. And so what we're saying here is that if we have a graph and all the values on that graph are 100%, if I'm randomly guessing, that means half the time I'm wrong. And so my AUC is 0.5. Now, by the same logic, let's say I develop a perfect test. So my perfect test basically never has a false positive, and it always has a true positive. So what that would look like is basically a straight line, right? Because it's true 100% of the time and it's false 0% of the time. My test would basically just be a straight line. And so the area under the curve would basically be everything. And my AUC would be 1.0. And so basically what I'm saying is that random guessing has an AUC of 0.5 and a perfect test has an AUC of 1.0. And so what I'm really trying to get at is that most tests have an AUC of 0.5 to 1.0. And so now we get into applying it to the USMLE, which is why we're here, obviously. And so let's say I want to graph my false positive rate and my true positive rate. And Just to further confuse you, true positive is the same thing as sensitivity. And my false positive is 1 minus specificity. So all you really need to know for the USMLE is that you have some graph like this, and basically this is your higher sensitivity zone, and this is your higher specificity zone, because my sensitivity is high up here and my specificity is high